You want to get into film photography? Maybe you already have an experience with digital photography and you're looking to spice things up, some creative inspiration. Maybe you have no experience at all and you're looking for a creative outlet. I hope this series of videos helps you in this journey. I went through a similar process myself over a year ago. I had experience shooting digital before, but I didn't feel inspired to get a camera and go on a photo shoot and try some new things. So I thought, I'll try film. Maybe it gets my creative juices going. And oh boy, it did. In this episode, I'll talk about getting camera and roll of film. I'll share how I did it and some useful tips. My goal in this video is that you know which camera and which roll of film to get and where to get them. So the bare minimum just to get you started. Since you're just getting started, I assume that you don't have film camera. So there are several options how you could get one. Maybe you have relatives or friends who have old camera that is just lying around collecting dust, and you can borrow it from them and give it a try. That would be the best option with the least commitment from you, because if you don't like it, you can always return it to them. And if you do like it, you can try to buy it from them, and they probably would offer you much better price than a camera store, or maybe they would give it to you for free. It was my case. I was in a foreign country. I didn't have any relatives or friends to borrow it from, so I had to go another route. Now, if you decide to buy camera, I would consider two options, local store and eBay. Now, I know there are online stores of used cameras like mpb.com, I think popular in Europe, and KeyH, popular here in US. But every time I compare prices between eBay and these stores, they're always more expensive than eBay. So if I'm trying to save money, I would always go with eBay. If you have an option buying in a local store, I think that's the best one. The local store can be convenient for you in so many different ways. They can help you to understand how camera works and how to operate the camera if you don't know. They can provide you repair services and they can be very convenient for you in the long run. So I think it's a great option to support the local businesses. If buying in a local store is not an option for you, I would definitely go with eBay. At first I felt uneasy about purchasing there, worried about scams, but it's actually pretty reliable if you know what you're doing. You need to look out for certain signals, and it's a pretty big topic. So I'm interested in recording a special video just for that. If you're interested in it, please leave the comment below. In the past year and a half, I bought around 44 items on eBay, and I had no issues, or let's say I had very little issues with that, and all of them were resolved. So you should be aware of them. So if you want to hear about that, leave the comment. Before searching for the camera in store, you need to decide on what type of camera to get. And I'd start with figuring out what film format works for you. There are three formats, small, medium, and large. And I would ignore large completely because that's way too complicated and cumbersome for somebody who's just starting with film. 135 is a small format, also known as 35mm film, that pretty much everybody have seen. And 120 is the format, the medium format, which is a bit more exotic and was a thing for mostly professional photographers. I think for somebody who is just starting, 35mm makes much more sense. There's much more camera options available on the market, much more cheap options. The cameras and lenses are substantially smaller than medium format, so you will be in a better position to carry the camera with you everywhere, so you will get more practice and you'll get better and much faster. The 35mm rolls of film have more exposures, usually 36, and medium format, at most you can get maybe 15, 16 shots on one roll. So with 35mm you can shoot much more and not worry about every single frame. So again, you will get more mileage on your camera, you'll get more practice, and you'll get better faster. Among 35mm cameras, which one to get? Rangefinder, SLR, point and shoot. There are options. If you have experience shooting with digital cameras, DSLRs, or mirrorless cameras, you probably would be better off with SLR camera. That's a single lens reflex. It's when you're looking through the viewfinder and you're looking through the lens. So what you see is what you get. So it will be much easier for you to compose and focus, and it'll be much more familiar experience for you. If you are into street photography and people on the busy streets of New York is your inspiration, you should consider a rangefinder camera. That's the type of camera where the viewfinder doesn't show you what the lens sees. It's a separate window, so it can be a little bit harder to frame, but you can see around the scene and anticipate a bit better what's coming into the frame so that you can get the best shot. And that's the type of cameras like Leica, but you don't have to get Leica, it's super expensive. There are much cheaper options on the market. Point and shoot cameras is not my cup of tea, but if you're into 90s and 80s look, the lo-fi style, then it's definitely a great option. There are tons and tons of cheap point and shoot cameras, but check out the reviews on YouTube before getting one. In conclusion, if you don't know which way to go, I would go with SLR. I think it's much more convenient and friendly option. You can see how the frame will look like exactly on film, and it's much more convenient to frame and focus. When I was just getting started, I didn't want to get anything expensive. No Leica or Hasselblad, that would be a very strong commitment. So something cheap and reliable was a practical choice. But even if you know what you need, let's say 35mm SLR, if you look at eBay, there are so many options. So which one? Let me share my opinion, but keep in mind that it's based on my experience and my needs, and other people may have different recommendations. And by the way, if you do have a recommendation and you have better options, please leave the comment below, share the knowledge. Nikon F series of cameras is a wonderful starting point. Nikon has great history of building film cameras. They created so many different models. They produced millions and millions of cameras. So there is a ton of availability on the market in very good conditions. The prices are very reasonable. You can find very affordable models and more expensive models. There are lots of lenses available for these cameras in all possible focal lengths and impossible, like this Nikkor 200mm prime lens. The lenses are also very affordable. They start below $100, and you can get very clean lens for pretty cheap. It's a great system to get into. I own 2 F cameras and 8 prime lenses for them. There are many models in F series of cameras. FA, FE, FM, F2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It feels like all possible combinations of letters and numbers. Just remember that Z is for digital cameras. I started with F3 model, which is a little bit on the more expensive side, I would say. The FE series is admired by people, and there are a bit more affordable models there. FM2 is a great model to start with. I've just searched online on eBay, and I found FM model with the lens for 90 bucks. And the seller claims that it's all in working condition. So there you go. You can get a camera below 100 bucks. Canon obviously is a very popular brand, and they have a good history of film cameras as well. Canon AE1 is a very popular model. It's not the cheapest one though. The Pentax has a great history of film cameras as well, especially their K1000 and MX models, but I don't have much experience with them, so I cannot advise on that. There are alternatives, Minolta and Konica. There's a different camera systems. They can be very cheap. They can be dirt cheap. Like you can get a working camera for 40 bucks with lens. So you really don't have to spend a lot of money to get into film photography. And like digital, I would certainly recommend to get camera, body and lens together as one purchase, as a bundle. Getting body and lens separately can be tricky business if you're not familiar with that camera system. You should be able to recognize lens mount by the photograph, because sellers are people. Sometimes they make mistakes. I've seen cases on eBay where lens would be marked with the wrong mount system. So, and if I purchased it, I wouldn't be able to attach it to my camera. If you are not familiar with the camera system, definitely get body and lens as a bundle. The other thing that you need to get started is a roll of film. And again, I would recommend looking at the local stores. Maybe some of them have film available. That would be the easiest way and the cheapest way to get film if you need a couple rolls. Buying online, yes, the prices would be cheaper online, but you need to pay for delivery. And if you're getting a couple rolls, it's not economically reasonable to buy them online because the delivery price will make it more expensive than buying in a store. Main option online, if you're just getting a couple rolls, in my opinion, is Amazon. You can get delivery for free. You can get it in a couple of days. They always have the most common film stocks available. But this option makes more sense for US and some European countries. I'm not sure about the rest of the world. Now, in terms of what kind of film stock to get, two main options, obviously, black and white and color, and it's a matter of preference. Do you want to go with black and white or you want to experience these beautiful film colors? So with black and white, I would definitely recommend Ilford, and specifically Ilford HP5. It's a very common black and white film stock. It's very hard to go wrong with it. It's the ISO 400, so you can comfortably shoot it in most weather conditions. You can also push it very easily, but it's a topic for maybe different video. With color, I'm leaning towards Kodak. I like Kodak warm colors, and Kodak Color Plus 200 ISO, in my opinion, is a great starting point. It's a very common film stock. It's relatively cheap. You can get a bulk of it for a very reasonable price. You can get just a couple of rolls. And in my opinion, it has beautiful colors, just beautiful colors. But if you don't like Kodak style, you can go with Fuji Superior. They have, I think, 200 and 400 ISO, so there are some options. Very common film stock as well. Lomo is an interesting option. They have 400 and 800 options for the common color film, but you need to be careful with buying Lomo. They produce a lot of quirky types of film with a weird color casts like purple. So if you're going for Lomo, definitely make sure that it's just a common color film and not some exotic film stock. Now you're almost ready. One more thing. It's most likely that the camera that you get will not have a built-in light meter. And even if it does, it might not work correctly because old cameras. And unless you get point and shoot, you will have to calculate shutter speed and aperture yourself based on ISO of the film. And in order to do that, you need to have a light meter. I recommend light meter application for the phone. And if you want to know more about that, check out my video where I talk about different applications for the phone that can help you with the film photography. Now when you have camera, roll of film and light meter, you're ready to go. Well, almost. You need to load film into the camera. And that can be challenging if you're doing it for the first time. Definitely check out some guides on YouTube that are specific for your film camera. If you are interested in tips for shooting film, what to do with it after you shot it, developing, scanning, printing, please subscribe and leave the comment below with the topics that you're interested in, and I'll do my part. I'll record a good video for the next episode of Shooting Film. Thank you for watching. See you next time.